Shalom, Yasharella. Giving all praise and glory to the Most High Power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The water for joining me. I want to continue with Matthew the 25th chapter. We're dealing with the 10 virgins. I want to look at Matthew the 26th chapter. And it's dealing with, if we look at verse 1, it says, "Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom." So it's 10 virgins that's going forth to meet their husband, which is the bridegroom. And the Mashiach Shai is telling the story. But it's looking at, and we got to look at the kingdom of heaven, because this is what we should be striving to get to. The kingdom of heaven. As always, Colossians 3:17, "Whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all by Hashem Mashiach Yahushua. Give you thanks to the Most High and the Father by Hashem Mashiach Yahushua." So look at Matthew, the 10th chapter. Matthew 10 and 5. 6 and 7. Matthew 10 and 5. "These 12 were the 12 apostles of Mashiach Shai sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles." So he said, don't go into the way of the Gentiles. "And into any city of the Samaritans entered ye not." Samaria was in upper Israel, northern Israel. He said, "But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." He said, "But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." That's specific. So he's singling out his people, the lost sheep of the house of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel. "And as ye go, preach, saying," what? "The kingdom of heaven is at hand." He said, as you go, preach, teaching, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. So, to get more understanding of who the kingdom of heaven is, go to Matthew 11:11. They say, "Verily, verily, I say unto you, among them that are born of women, there have not risen a greater than John the Baptist. Notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he." See that? Hear that? So, it's letting you know that the least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than John the Baptist. You see that? "And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence." So, the kingdom of heaven is talking, who is it that suffered violence? And the violent take it by force, he's saying. The violent people take it by force. So we as the kingdom of heaven, as the children of Israel, we are the kingdom of heaven. You understand? We are the kingdom of heaven. That's why I say the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence. So we were suffering violence from the superpower of earth, the Romans, who actually eventually killed Mashiach Yahushua, put him to death. In the violent, he's saying, he calling them violent, take it by force. He said, "For all the prophets in the law prophesied until John," who was John the Baptist. "And if you receive it, if you can receive it," because everybody can receive it. Sadducee spirit, they're not going to receive this. That when Sadducees, even today, that Sadducee spirit not going to receive this. He said, if you can receive it, this is Elijah, which is for to come. "He that have ears to hear, let him hear." So, now when you go over this and you see that, wow, they couldn't receive it because they're a Sadducee spirit. They didn't believe in regeneration or reincarnation. So when you hear people say they don't believe in reincarnation, they don't believe in regeneration and so forth, they're a Sadducee spirit. That's the kind of spirit they're dealing with. So, and we look at it because the kingdom of heaven within us. Who's within us? Go to St. John 14. Because we got to look at many different scenarios as with the 10 virgins, 5 of them wise and 5 of them foolish. We have to look at this because when we look at as I said, John the 14th chapter, Mashiach Shai telling us he said in verse 21, St. John 14:21, he said, he that hath my commandments and keepeth them. The commandments. What they say you're not under? You have the commandments and keepeth the commandments. He it is that loveth me. That's how you show you love me. That's why he said in verse 15, if you love me, keep my commandments. So he said, look, he that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me. And he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father, and I will love him and will manifest myself to him. Right? So I'm going to manifest myself to him. Look at verse 23. It says, Mashiach shall answer and said unto him, if a man love me, he will keep my words, which is keeping his commandments. He just told us that. And my Father will love him, and we will, that's W-E, the Most High of Mashiach Yahushua will come unto him and make our abode with him. Hear that? You will come unto that man that's keeping the commandments of the Most High. And the Most High of Mashiach Yahushua going to make their abode in us. He that loveth me not, you don't love him not. You can't say you love him and keep it not my sayings. You can't say you love him and don't keep his sayings, he's saying. What he's telling us, and the word which ye hear is not mine, but the Father's which sent me. You can't say that you are rolling in the kingdom of heaven, which is within us. And what's it within us? He said we're going to make our abode in you. That's the Most High of Mashiach Yahushua abiding in us, and claiming that you have rolling with the kingdom of the Most High, the kingdom of heaven within you. It's not there. And a lot of people are being fooled and thinking that. And it's sad, but it's real. Look at because he did a lot of expounding on the kingdom of heaven. Go to Matthew the 13th chapter, and let's look at this is when he talk about the seeds. He planted the seeds, and some fell among by the wayside, some fell among thorns, some fell among stony ground, and some fell among good ground. So verse 10 says, and he's at the end, he said in verse Matthew 13:9, he said, who hath ears to hear, let him hear. So he say this a lot. Therefore, everybody can't hear this. It says, and his disciples came and said unto him, why speakest thou unto them in parables? So you got to think about this. Why is he speaking in parables or riddles, something that you got to try and figure out if it's for everyone? right? He answered and said unto them, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries, that's a secret, something that's unknown, the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. That's why our topics is on Matthew 25th chapter. We show about 10 virgins, 5 wise and 5 foolish. Here, he's telling you. He said, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given. That's why you say, study, show yourself approved to the Most High. So you have this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of this Bible, then you're going to be given more. And he that have more, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever have not, from him shall be taken away, even that he have. You hear that? You don't have this, so you're going to be, whatever you have, going to be taken away from you, even that he have. From him shall be taken away, even that he have. It say, therefore speak I to them in parables, because they see not. They see the words of this Bible. They don't see, they don't understand. They see them, but they see not. In hearing they hear, neither do they understand. Say they neither understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which said, by hearing that ye shall hear, and shall not understand. Now we went over previously. Hearing they shall hear and not understand, and seeing ye shall see and not perceive. For this people's heart, which is your mind, is waxed gross. Listen at that. This people's heart is waxed gross. Why? Especially now. Well, it's time that he lived on earth, because he was in the Roman Empire. He said this people's minds, by the time he came to the earth in the Roman Empire, the so-called white man's second rulership, first the Greeks and then the Romans, so this people's mind is waxed gross. Why he say that? Because you know Isaiah 47:5, Most High says, sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, talking to the Edomites, who was the so-called Romans. Look up Edom, it says Edom, Rome, Idumea, Edom, Rome, represent the aboriginal race of the Caucasians. It says, sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldees, for thou shalt no more be called the lady of kingdoms, right? So he told them, shut up and get thee into darkness. So once they got into darkness, I mean, it all flows together. Isaiah 60:2. Why he's saying what he's saying. Isaiah 60:2. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. Yeah? Gross ignorance the people. See? So that's why he's saying what he's saying. What he's saying here in verse 15 of Matthew the 13th chapter. For this people's heart, which is a mind, is waxed gross. Is waxed gross. Why? Because they put the people's mind in gross darkness. They could even say that they were Israelite. They couldn't follow the laws. They had to follow strange laws. I mean, it's right here. So their minds, which is their heart, is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing. And their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, which is their mind, and should be converted, and I should heal them. Well, a lot of people not healed. But blessed are your eyes, he's saying, for they see. All you out there that really see this and really understanding this spiritually, because that's what's important, because otherwise he wouldn't, it sound like a parable. All this will sound like a parable to you, even though you're getting the understanding of it. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. See, so he goes on to tell you the understanding of what he's saying. Some fell by the wayside, some fell among thorns, some fell among stony grounds, and some fell among good ground. So we're going to continue looking at kingdom of heaven, because it's very important that we see this while he's giving different analysis. Jump up to verse 24. Matthew 13:24. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. So now, he sowed, man put seeds out there. The seeds were great. They were good. In the land, in the ground. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. So, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man which sowed good seed. It's going to tell you what it's talking about. I'll explain it. But while he slept, here come these weeds. Tares, he called them tares among the wheat, and went his way. So the servants of the household came and said unto him, Sir, did not thou sow good seed in thy field? So didn't you plant good seeds in the field? From whence then has it tares? And why it has these weeds? He said unto them, an enemy. He said it first in 25, but while they men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. Right? Just the enemy that Mashiach Shai is calling the enemy, which is opposite of being a friend. Totally opposite. Verse 28, he said unto them, an enemy have done this. The servant said unto him, wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? Because they're growing amongst the wheat, these tares, some like weeds that look just like wheat. Verse 29, but he said, nay, no, lest while you gather up the tares, you root up also the wheat with them. You can't tell them apart. Otherwise, you can't tell a tare from the wheat. Let both grow together. See, let both grow together until they harvest. Until he come to bring the harvest on this earth. And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, gather you together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. So this is he said the enemy did this, right? This is clear. So, he went on to give another parable. You see? Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like to a grain of mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field. So a grain of mustard seed can fit right under your fingernail. It's so small. So he took this grain of mustard seed, the seed of mustard seed, and planted it in the ground, which indeed is the least of all seasons. It's so small. But when it is grown, it is greatest among herbs. Greatest among herbs. And become a tree, so that the birds of the air come and lodge in the branches thereof. It grows up to be a large tree. From this little bitty mustard seed, it's real small. Like I say, it can fit under your fingernail. Really like it's smaller than a grain of rice. Another parable spake he unto them. The kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal, till the whole was leavened, till it rise. Leaven means yeast. It makes it rise, right? All these things spake Mashiach Shai to the multitude in parables. What is he talking about? You know? And without a parable spake he not unto them, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, saying, I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things which have been kept secret from the foundation of the world. Then Mashiach Shai sent the multitude away, sent all of them away, and went into the house. And his disciples came unto him, saying, declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. Remember, we had many parables that he, even in this chapter, that we went over. You see? But what were they concerned? They were concerned about what? Declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. The tares of the field. Right? Remember that, like he told us in verse 25, but while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. Verse 28. He said unto them, an enemy have done this. The servant said unto him, wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? See, an enemy did this, sowed these tares among the wheat, right? A lot of people try to use this analogy with things that don't even make any sense compared to what he's telling us here. An enemy, that's a person. That's a people. Not another plant or something of that nature. Listen. But of all the parables, they came and asked him about that one. Declaring to us the parable of the tares of the field. Verse 37. He answered and said unto them, he that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. Okay? Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom. Good seed are the children of the kingdom. The Israelites, the Hebrew Israelites. But the tares are the children of the wicked one. Now, he called them an enemy. Now he's calling them the wicked one. And we talking about what? The kingdom of heaven. It's likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy, who he just said is the wicked one, came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. Went his way. Verse 37. He answered and said unto them, he that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. And last I looked at Job 9:24 says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? If it's not them. So it says, and he called him the enemy, called him the wicked one. The enemy that sold them is the devil. Is the devil. So the enemy, the wicked one, the devil. He's saying. The harvest is the end of the world. Now, last I looked, 2 Ezra 6 and 9, it says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. What's coming after the end of the world is the rulership of the Most High, Mashiach Yahushua, and the children of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel. The enemy that sold them is the devil. So he called him the enemy, he called him the wicked one, and he called him the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels, right? He said, as therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. End of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity. Those that are not following the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments. And offend, Israelites too. Because he told you in Hosea 5 and 15, wow. He said, I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense. We the Israelites offended the Most High by not keeping his commandments, and seek my face, because he turned his face away from us, hid his face from us. In their affliction they shall seek me early. So this is what he say when he said for the Son of Man, when the Mashiach Yahushua come back, he let you know what he's going to do. Listen, verse 39, Matthew 13:39. The enemy that sold them is the devil. We talking about what? Verse 24, another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven, right? We still talking about the kingdom of heaven. It says, verse 39, the enemy that sold them He called him the wicked one. He called him the enemy. The wicked one that sold him is the devil. Devil means deceitful and evil person. The harvest is the end of the world. We know Esau is the end of the world, would have to be ruling in the end of the world. And the reapers are the angels. So the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. So these tares going to be gathered together and burned. The angel going to gather them together and burn them in the fire. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, those that break the Most High's law, statute, commandments, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Keep that in mind. He said, there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who have ears to hear, let them hear. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto treasure hid in a field. Treasure that you hide in the field. The which when a man hath found, he hideth. And for joy, well, let me just expound on this tares before I go here to the next kingdom of heaven. This is talking about when we were in sleep, like a lot of us are asleep right now, and the enemy. First of all, let's establish something as far as the enemy. As I gave you Job 9:24, the wicked. The earth is given to the hand of the wicked. And a lot of you think that's talking about an entity called Satan, but he don't operate but under the power of the Most High. But those that do wicked, like you say, those that offend, those that break his commandments, then he sends Satan on you. When you're not operating in the proper perspective of how he would want you to be. So let's look at this enemy. So Deuteronomy 28th chapter, we know from 15 to 68 are the curses that befell the children of Israel. Because Deuteronomy 1:1 say, these be the words that the Most High spake unto all Israel on this side of Jordan. So it's talking to the Israelites. So Deuteronomy 28:68, we look at who the enemy is. This says, and the Most High shall bring thee into Egypt, which means captivity, slavery, and bondage. You don't know? You can go to Exodus 20:2. It'll define that. Again, another time, how? With ships. We the only people that came into captivity, slavery, and bondage for hundreds of years on ships. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. We haven't seen our homeland of Israel again as a nation. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies. See that? So we're sold on auction blocks, but it's telling us we will be sold to our enemies. He said an enemy has done this. It says, for bondmen, slave men, and bondwomen. What people or what race of people can say this happened to them? This is why they look down upon us. But we the chosen people of the Most High, and 1/3 of us had to pay for what the 2/3 of us did, and being wicked and not following his commandments. But the righteous gonna follow the Most High to the end, gonna endure to the end. But we were sold unto your enemies for bondmen, slave men, and bondwomen, slave women, and no man shall buy you, which means to save or redeem us from a condition that we in. I told you about Job 9:24. So he called him the enemy. That's the enemy. Then he said the wicked one. The wicked one is who? Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Now, Mashiach Shai, and last I read in Revelation 19:11, say he coming to judge and make war. And the Most High has given him all judgment. So now you look at this. Come on now. 5 people in that picture. They still perpetrating that until this day. The Borgia family. The wicked. So now, he called him the devil, right? Just look at the devil. He called him the devil, which means deceitful and evil person. Well, right quick, Psalms 58:3. Psalms 58:3. The wicked, remember the earth given to the hand of the wicked, he covered the face of the judges thereof, if not when, who is he? The wicked are estranged from the womb. So they go estranged from the womb when they come out of the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. What's devil mean? Deceitful and evil person. So they liars and they evil, right? So now, Right to the point. I ask the question. Who is it that is able to put us in jail? Who is it that put a Mashak Shai to death? If I might ask. What people did that? It's just the truth. Listen at this. Revelation 2 and 10. It says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. Now, who can you say in America is predominantly the most people in prison? It's the Israelites. Listen. But listen at this. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death. Believe in the Most High unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit said unto the churches. He that overcometh shall not be hurt of the second death. That's why we got to have faith. Now, I just wanted to cover that so you know that even in slavery, the Most High told us that another man gonna lie with our women. We just read that just now for breaking the Most High's laws. Before I started this lesson, continuing this lesson, we into Jeremiah. He told us this. It don't mean it's right for them to do it, but he told us. Jeremiah 8 and 10. Therefore will I give their wives unto others. See? Because we broke the Most High's laws, statute, commandments. And even our women that were virgins, they raped in slavery and so forth. And brought forth babies that are of their seed. That's why you call them tares. So this is the enemy, the wicked, and the devil. Because everything's come from the man's seed. Everything is his seed. After his seed. Even in the beginning. You know, go to Genesis 1 and 11. It says, and the Most High said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herbs yielding seed, and a fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth, and it was so. And the earth, see, is his seed. And the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the fruit yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And the Most High saw that it was good. See? So everything is his kind. Look at verse 21. And the Most High created great whales and every living creature that moves. So we're a living creature that moves too. People are. Which the waters brought forth. We come from the waters or the sperm of a man abundantly after their kind. And every winged fowl after his kind. And the Most High saw that it was good. See? Verse 24. And the Most High said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping things and beasts of the earth after his kind. And it was so. And the Most High made the beasts of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And the Most High saw that it was good. So it's his all the time. See? So these are the things that, we can understand through the precepts. That's why it's the seed of man. That's why when you look at another one, go right to the point, Psalm 17, go to Psalm 17th chapter. Verse 14. It says, from men which are thy hand, O Most High, from men of the world which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure. They are full of children. See? From the men come the children. And leave the rest of their substance to their babes. So, just showing you that the enemy, the wicked, the devil, slept with our women and brought forth his seed. So when he brought forth his seed, the end result is, Mashiach Shai said, you're going to have the angels. He said, let them go. They're all around us. He said, let them grow all together amongst us. Because they, you know how it is, you got a little bit of, they say, Negro in you, then you are that Negro. They put you right in that category, right? So Mashiach Shai knows. Because they was like, hey, let's go out and get these tares and separate them from the wheat, right? He said, no, let them grow together, because when you try and get one of them, you might get one of the Israelites. That's what he's saying. Clear as day. So now, let's continue. Because you know that. That's why he said he gonna bind them up. You got the angels come and bind them up. Because remember, we scattered among all these nations. So he's gonna get these tares that's trying to hang out with us and be us. He gonna gather them. The angels gonna gather them and bind them up in a bundle and burn them. So therefore, they're not gonna be coming back. The enemy not gonna sleep with our women to bring forth his seed anymore. Because why would he do that? Because that's the end of that particular operation of them laying with our women and bringing forth their seed. That's why he gave everybody their woman. Most times not with integration. He gave everyone their woman. He said, hey, that's your woman. That's your woman. Procreate. You know. That's a lot of the problem that we have now. So, let's continue. Since the 10 virgins are dealing with the kingdom of heaven, we look at the kingdom of heaven in other different ways. Going back to Matthew 13. Verse 44. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto treasure hid in a field, the which when a man hath found, he hideth, and for joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he hath, and buyeth that field. You see it, he go and buy this field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchant man seeking goodly pearls, who, when he hath found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. That's what the kingdom of heaven is like. Whatever it is that you have shouldn't matter. If this means you got to give it up for the kingdom of heaven. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net. A net. Like a net that you throw in the sea, in the water, that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind. So you throw that net out there and get all kinds coming in that net, right? Which when it was full, they drew it to shore, and sat down and gathered the good in the vessels. So you put the good in the right side, in the vessels, and cast the bad away, and cast the bad to the left. Cast the bad away. So shall it be at the end of the world. Now you know, the angels shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just. Right? Gonna sever the wicked people from among those that are righteous. Keeping the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High, having faith in the Most High, fearing the Most High, scared of the Most High, crying to the Most High, having respect for the Most High, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. Listen, there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth again. Just in case you ain't hearing the first time, he said there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. And Mashiach said to them, have ye understood all these things? They said unto him, yeah, master. Then he said unto them, therefore every scribe which is instructed into the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is an householder, which bringeth forth out of his treasure things new and old. You see? things new and old. We done been in this for a long time, and those that are coming in new. Remember, they're going to get the same benefit they come in the last hour. You look at those that's been in all these years and years, and they figure that they somebody because they've been in so many years. That's, you know, they below someone that's just coming in that last hour. Myself, Shai gonna set this up. Has nothing to do with what we think, but we'll just look at trying to exalt ourselves, and because of the time we've been in. But when you do the research, you be like, man, we done did a whole lot of things that just was not right. Let's continue in the kingdom of heaven. Let's go to Matthew, the 16th chapter. Let's look at verse 16 and 13. When the Mashiach came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? So who do men say that I am? And they said, some say that thou art John the Baptist. So now, some say that he's John the Baptist. Now, you know, John the Baptist died during the time that he lived. He died under one of the birthdays of Herodias' daughter, the king's daughter, whose mother said, give me the head of John the Baptist on the charger. Because he told the king that he shouldn't have his brother's wife. And so she asked for his head on the charger. So when she danced, when her daughter danced, say, what do you want? She said, give me the head of John the Baptist. So he's already gone. And they said, some say, thou art John the Baptist. Some Elijah. And you got to look at these scriptures and say, okay, well, how could he be Elijah? Elijah been gone. You know, he's been ascended up. Some say Elijah. And others, Jeremiah, who we just read about. Jeremiah. Or one of the prophets, if they didn't know about regeneration and reincarnation. But the spirit of the Sadducee, they hear this, they don't believe this. They don't believe that. He said to them, but whom say ye that I am? Okay, that's what they said I am, who I am. But who do you say that I am? I am. And Simon Peter answered and said, thou art Hamashiach. He didn't say Jesus, because there's many J-E-S-U-S, or Yahushai, or Yeshua, or Yeshaya, or Yehoshua, or whatever name you use for him. There's many of those, but there's only one, Hamashiach. He said, thou art Hamashiach, the anointed, the Messiah, the son of the living power, the son of the most high power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And the Mashiach answered and said unto him, blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed it unto thee, but my Father, which is in heaven. Told him, hey, flesh and blood didn't reveal this to you, but the Most High have revealed this to Peter. And I say unto thee, that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And I will give unto thee, to Peter, the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Then charged he the disciples, listen to what he said, then charged his disciples that they shouldn't tell no man that he was Mashiach Yahushai. Don't tell nobody that I'm a Mashiach Yahushai. From that time forth, began a Mashiach Yahushai. That's probably why it wasn't revealed to a lot of people until this day. But we know Hamashiach now. All praise to the Most High. Now you say it's revealed, not revealed by flesh and blood. No man revealed this, but the Most High revealed it. All praise to the Most High. Hallelujah. It says, from that time forth began the Mashiach to show unto his disciples how that he must go unto Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders of the Israelites and chief priests and scribes, and be killed and be raised again the third day. See. We're looking at the kingdom of heaven, as he described it as 10 virgins, 5 wise and 5 foolish. Look at Matthew 18:1. At the same time came the disciples unto Mashiach saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? Who's the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? Sound like somebody wants some exaltation, right? Sound like pride to me. Who's the greatest? Listen to what he said. And the Mashiach called a little child, a little young child, unto him, and set him in the midst of them, and said, verily, truly, I say unto you, except ye be converted, you be changed, and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. You hear that? You say, unless you be changed. That's converted, meaning you changed. Become a new creature. You be born again. In your mind and the way you think and act. As a child is innocent. Until they be made to see all the wickedness and become wicked as they would be taught to be, they're innocent. Except you be converted, changed, and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Whosoever therefore shall humble themselves, you know a child is humble. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoso shall receive one such little child in my name, I'll show my Mashiach in the name of the Lord and Savior, receiveth me. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones, which believe on in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. He let you know. That's why you got to be aware of who you are offending. Because he said, but whoso shall offend one of these little ones, which believe in me, believe in Bahashem Mashiach, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck. Take a big boulder, a big stone, large as could be, and tie it to your neck. Put a noose around your neck and tie this big, great millstone. And that he would drown in the depth of the sea. See what he said? So, from there, just jump up to 18. You see, he's talking about it a lot. Kingdom of heaven. Matthew 18 and 23. Therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king, which would have account of his servants. Certain king, making account of his servants. And when he had begun to reckon, one was brought unto him, which owed him 10,000 talents. So that you know, you want to get to the kingdom, he give you all these examples of what's going on as far as to get into the kingdom and how it's going to be. And how it is in this world, so we could change, be converted. And when he had begun to reckon, one was brought unto him, which owed him 10,000 talents. Owed him 10,000 talents. But for much as he had not to pay, he had the money to pay him, the 10,000 talents. His master commanded him to be sold. Say, sell him. And his wife, sell his wife, sell him and his wife and children. Sell all his children too. and all that he had. See that? All that he had. And payment to be made. This is what he said. Sell him, his wife, his children, and everything that he had. I get my 10,000 talents. Right? The servant therefore fell down and worshipped him, saying, begging him, Master, have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. He cried out to him, bending down, bowed down to him. Have patience with me, and I'll pay thee all. I'll give you all that I owe you. Then the master of that servant was moved with compassion. This is concerning the kingdom of heaven. Then the master of that servant was moved with compassion and loosed him and forgave him the debt, forgave him the 10,000 talents that he owed him. That was to the point he said, sell him and his wife and his children. Sell them all and everything that he had. That's serious. That's real serious, y'all. That's real, real serious. Sell everything. That's real serious. They sell everything that he had. And he had compassion. He fell down and started worshiping him. So he had compassion on him and said, okay, I'll forgive you of all the debt that you owe. Verse 27, got to remember this again. Then the master of that servant was moved with compassion and loosed him. Let him go. And forgave him the debt. Forgave him the amount of money that he owed him. But the same servant, once he been forgiven, went out and found one of his servants, which owed him 100 pence. Just 100. And he laid hands on him and took him by the throat, choking him out, saying, pay me that thou owest. He'd have been forgiven 10,000 talents. This cat owed him 100 pennies. 100 pence. He gonna choke him out. Pay me that you owe me. After he'd been forgiven for everything that he owed. Gonna lose him, himself, his wife, his children, and everything that he had. All that was forgiven. You gonna go out and find somebody that owe him 100 pennies and choke him out. Grab him by the throat, saying, pay me that thou owest. And his fellow servants fell down at his fellow servant fell down at his feet, like he fell down at the king's feet, and he forgave him. So this fellow servant fell down at his feet and besought him, saying, have patience with me. Sound familiar? Same thing he said to the king, right? Have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. Right? And he would not. He wouldn't have compassion on him. He wouldn't have patience with him. And he would not, but went and cast him into prison till